everybody. Welcome to That's Good Stuff, the show where we review pop culture's newest releases. And this week, that was Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. So this is the anime style. It's controversial if you call it anime because it was made in America. Well, it was made by a bunch of people, but so an anime style adaptation of a dependencies tokens based on a character who doesn't even have a name. She gets mentioned in like two sentences, but she's our main character named Hela. And
Hera?
so Hera, yeah, not Hela.
She
Those were
hella
some-
Rohirrim.
I got the wrong Greek god or whatever it was. And Brian Cox, he's playing Helm Hammerhand, as Jared likes that name.
Hard hand hammerhead.
So basically, this is the origin story of Helm's Deep, right? So Helm Hammerman is the king of Rohan, and he's got a daughter. And what is the guy that Lord whatever Hecka?
Lord
Something like
Tattoo
that.
Face.
Something like that.
Flecka?
Flecka, that's what it is. So this guy, he's one of his. What are they? I don't know. He's like a lord.
Wildman?
No, he's some kind of lord or something, and he comes with his son Wolf, who was childhood friends with Hera, and he decides that it'd be a good match if they married to strengthen Rohan. But he's not very much liked by Helm. He thinks he's just a bad guy. He's not a worthy guy. So everything goes wrong at the engagement party, ending up with Flecka's death in one punch. And this starts our story in all kinds of war. Wolf wants a revenge for his father, and he is out to get it against Helm, who, they end up in the deep. I don't know how much more less you want us to go, so let's just get into spoilers. And let's talk about what you guys thought. So going into this movie, I didn't have a lot of hope, and just because of things I've heard. But what did you guys hear? Michael, you're the big Lord of the Rings guy. What were your thoughts going into the movie?
I didn't have high expectations for it, but I had hope that we were going to see things, despite it being in Rohan. Like, we know where it is and everything, but I hoped it wouldn't touch on Lord of the Rings or try and evolve anything. And it did that blatantly, and that upset me greatly. I'll have to touch on a few of those later, but yeah. So I had heard, middling mixed reviews and stuff like that. I was like, okay, so expectations even lowered before going into it, but then coming out of it, I just kind of, I think it's fine. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's good. I think it was just very much like meh. It was there. There were some interesting animations. There were some really bad animations, like the Flecka dude when he's talking and he's like, you look like a Disney statue, but you can't go with Gondor because we have to stick together. And you're like, what are your arms doing, sir? Calm down.
That was so bad.
Yeah, it was just like, but then the other times where they like fight her whenever she would have like an action sequence and she'd roll off something. It looked really good. I felt like her movement was really fluid and everything, but he was a puppet on strings or something. I don't know. So yeah,
there was some bad animation when the elephant broke the front gate of Rohan.
Oh, and all the sticks.
And it was
it's like there are feathers floating, like jazz hands going down. Like, what is that? Because they did it was 3D too, which you'd think would be easier, but
the horses don't look connected to like the rest of the environment. They just like float on the land.
Yeah, their running was very like canned, like a canned animation where it's just cycling over and over again. It's like no matter where they are, they're just floating across like the little like jockey races at like Mr. Gatsky's or something. You're like cheering for the horse and it's bouncing across. Yeah, no. Yeah, so it's very, very inconsistent animation wise.
And sadly, they used that in a trailer. One of the horses running, and it looked terrible.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, I think there were some cool characters in it for sure. There were some really, 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 really awful characters, which we can get into. But there were some all right characters. I didn't mind the Hell Hammerhand man of the hour. I like Brian Cox, a great voice, but the man he's an angry man, very very kind of a shallow character. I feel like because it's just like, I'm angry, no daughter, oh daughter, goodness, you should have told me sooner. But yeah, I don't know.
Who wants to go next, Jared?
Did you like it more or less than Rings of Power?
It was less offensive than Rings of Power.
Yeah.
It didn't. It was just more like desperately trying to attach itself to Lord of the Rings than blatantly goofing on Lord of the Rings. So
The way I look at it is they both seem like fan fiction, and Rings of Power is really bad fan fiction, but this one was like all right fan fiction. Jared, what did you think of the movie?
I didn't really have any expectations going in. I think I watched one trailer, if that. And I was like, oh, weird, an animated Lord of the Rings. We haven't had that in a long, long time. I didn't even do any research on it. Like, do you know what studio did the animation or?
There was like 60 of them,
Yeah.
something
Oh,
like
really?
that. But the one that gets the credit, it's not New Line, Sola Entertainment,
Yeah.
Wingnut
Mhm.
Films.
Wingnut.
Peter
Wingnut
Jackson.
sounds familiar, right? Oh, that's
I
Peter
think they
Jackson.
did yeah. But yeah, I had no expectations going in. I didn't even know what it was really about. But after watching it, I was like, it was more entertaining than Lords of Rings of Power. Like I was like there was fighting in the first 20 minutes. I was like, man, slow down, go breakneck speeds.
So
But
that
yeah,
Sola Digital Arts, they did Ninja Kamaway
oh, okay.
interesting.
from HBO.
But yeah, I wasn't offended till the very end. Then I was like, gross. But I had popcorn. I enjoyed it. It was fine to me. It was fine.
Yeah, I kind of like the beginning more than I did when they get to Helm's Deep, but Jonah had the
Yeah.
opposite.
Oh,
So
interesting.
go ahead, Jonah, and tell us why.
First, this is way better than Wings of Power, by the way. But I'd rather watch this like 3 more times than that again. But going into this is more of a movie I just like really desperately hoped was good than expected to be good, because I love like adult animation or that's like more mature, geared to like adults, and I don't think we have nearly enough of that in the West as we do in like Eastern with Japan. Like in Lord of the Rings kind of has a history of that, with like the 70s one was more like adult oriented. So I wanted this to be good, and I actually did not like the first 40 minutes of this movie at all, because like you said, the whole the engagement like party or whatever it was, like that scene goes by so fast and has like no
Yeah.
substance that you can't. It's basically just the trailer of like a few extra shots. That's all in the trailer, so we already know that. And I don't think I do like Helm as a character, but everybody else just gives you no reason to care about them. Um, I think most of the engagement does come from Helm and what happens to him later in the film. I like this movie a lot more once it gets to Helm's Deep, because it's more like focused on what it wants to be. Like it is the origin of Helm's Deep, and it does focus more on that. And with I don't know if we're in spoilers yet, but with what happens to Helm does like his illness and then eventually his death does give more weight to the plot that I wanted from the first half, where it just felt like people just like not caring about anything, just fighting. And the animation, yeah, it's not good, but there's like good ideas to it, like the way the shots are like composed and everything, and the lighting's really good throughout, actually.
Yeah, I like the
Like kind of
snowy areas a lot too.
yeah, the sunlight in like the snowy areas, and there's like that like purplish like kind of hue to them, which I don't see anime do a lot, and I like that this does. Um, but yeah, there's just the main problem was it wasn't smooth enough for me. That you can definitely see frames like missing everywhere with like the way the characters move. It does get better in the second half. I don't know if that's because it actually gets better. Or you just get used to it as while you're watching it. But it didn't bother me nearly as much then. And there's cool shots in the second half, like kind of like that tower that they like build up to like break through like the wall that kind of like the 360 like spin around it. That was cool. And the whole climax looks very good, like for what it is. But yeah, I didn't end up like hating this movie. There could definitely be a lot more like effort put into it, but for what it is, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. And the second half it definitely like Jared said, left me entertained, but not much more than that.
It was really long. It felt long. I don't know how
It was only
long.
like 2 hours.
Yeah,
2
216, I
hours.
think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying with it felt like fan fiction. The character Hera, she very much feels like, oh, you got to care about this person. She's all, so important to the lore. I hate when they try to like add stuff instead of just telling a story about a character in the world. They try to get the character to affect the
Mhm.
world, and that's like really annoying. So,
I
like,
don't have as much a problem with that because, like, when you do like stories like that, they're meant to be like retold and everything and have people's interpretations. So that doesn't bother me as much, but I do get where you're coming from.
The
she,
narration made me laugh in the beginning because it was like the many stories were told about her, and then it like paused a little bit, and she's like, and she could ride a horse good. And then
She
there's
could
another
ride that
pause.
horse.
She could ride that horse. I was like,
well, a big problem I had with that narration in the beginning because it goes like there's stories, but you'll never hear of them.
Oh yeah, that
And
was
so
a
I'm
weird
like,
thing to say.
okay, so that must mean there's like a tragic ending for this character,
Mm.
but there's not. She just lives like happily ever after. It's
I
like,
do think they should have both died.
yeah, like when she was dueling Wolf at the end, and it kind of like fakes that she's gonna get
Yeah.
stabbed. And I thought, yeah, why don't just have her get stabbed and then stab him, and then the whole thing's over, and it's a tragic ending.
Apparently, the narrator is supposed to be Awen.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I think she do the song as well at the grave scene. I feel like pretty because she sings it in the extended version of the movie. So and it sounded like her in this, and I saw her in the credits. I was like, I'm pretty sure she did it again. So
I think Helm should have been the main character. He wasn't the main character. We kind of lose sight of him for a while because he does get sick. But he does like that's true to the story. The way he dies, like frozen like that. So they did. That's a good part, but they didn't follow him enough to make it that impacting. I guess.
and it does the things I can't stand in movies where it's not reasoned for him to stay out there. Like make the timeline quicker, but he has like 45 minutes while he's waiting and talking to her and they're having this emotional thing. It's like, I get you're trying to lay the emotion, but this is a card that's been played 500 times in storytelling. Like make it a little more immediate, make him need to do it, give him a need or a reason to stay out there. But he's
Yeah,
just like,
there's not
he's like,
really.
I'm just going to stay out there because I'm this guy and I'm going to do it. It's just like, you could have gone in, made a plan, come out with the plan and done something a little bit more than stand and scream, but
And because they stand at that crack for like
they're there for a long time chatting. And she's like, you know what? Okay, bye, Papa. And the fact that those dudes can't get the thing open, like they should have had them pushing the wheels as he's pulling, because him pulling it over by himself, I thought that was real goofy.
I was gonna ask, is there? I don't know. You guys, have you read like
I haven't read
like
religious before.
Silmarillion and stuff like that?
I've listened to like bits of it.
Is there like instances of like super strong people or like abnormally strong people in that
Yeah.
lore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be
there's
interesting.
like
Because this dude was freaking Odin. After he got
True.
sick, he just became Odin. He took that Odin nap that Odin often does, and then he came back strong, just punching trolls and like.
so like Aragorn, he's got kind of like super endurance and stuff like that because of where his people are from. So it's like there is instances of that kind of stuff. And like I said, that the part where he dies, that's in there with him. I don't know if he's like punching trolls though. I don't know if you can punch a horn off a troll. I did like that part for some reason where you see the orcs
Yeah.
and they just make a little appearance of them.
Just bagging
For
some
some-
rings.
Yeah, for some reason I like that part. So it's you mentioned there was a lot of characters that you didn't like. Was one of these characters the shield maiden? Because she was really annoying.
Oh no, I didn't. I actually didn't mind her.
Oh,
You
I
didn't
liked
mind
her.
her?
Yeah, I didn't mind her
Yeah.
either.
I don't know why she was there. Why is she there so much? But
She's her, like her protector, or
I
like
get
her
that, but then she's like
overseer.
She's her
handing,
little Samwise.
holding
Yeah.
off Wolf and like a whole army, and it's just like, no, she's old. She can't do that.
Well, that and it's like I kept thinking, I was like, why not just burn the bridge that's going to the wall? And then
Yeah.
45 minutes later,
They
they
eventually
decided to
do.
burn the bridge. I'm like, it could have been down by now. Problem solved. They have to rebuild. They all die in the snow.
Dude, after that whole tower, I was like, man, that is such a waste of good wood. Like, you know how much
Where'd they get it all?
longer that?
Treebeard is very angry.
He's real upset.
That's why he didn't help immediately when it started.
You built that for
Oh,
a
boy.
tower and then immediately burnt it down.
I did like the visuals of Wolf being camped at Isengard. I thought that was pretty cool. Like all of them kind of tented around and everything. I like the visual of that for sure. And like the little like, although there's a lot of stuff in this movie that doesn't make sense that I'll get into. But one of the scenes was she's in the prison, quotes, with the open window, looks down at the horse. Then whenever the shield man comes, says run, then she jumps out the window to the horse. Like you could have done that ages ago. Nothing would have stopped you.
Can we talk about the adorable little fat man that
Leaf.
helped? Yeah, Leaf.
He was
Adorable little fat man.
great.
He was the best character.
He's a little white guy that always like helped her.
The
guy was
Samwise looking
carrying
guy.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he got on my nerves.
There was one part that
Why?
did not make sense because he like carried the box all the way up to the mountain. Remember that?
Yeah, the armor.
Helm's armor and stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I know where you're going.
But then they take it back to the tower.
He's in a
right?
tower for some reason. I was
They
like,
just wanted to see that box or something.
don't know.
And how did the eagle know where to go? Do they?
He's got
Does
GPS.
it
Was
know
she Was she writing it? No, because
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
The dude.
That part didn't make sense.
Does the eagles know every individual person in Rohan?
They speak they understand human tongue.
She did tell
Joseph.
him
She's-
where they were.
He was like down
Yeah.
there.
They're
Pick
in
up, pick it
Dandelion
up.
Village. Or it started with the D, I don't know what it
Dandelion
was.
Village. So we were talking about the eagles, right?
Mm.
The eagles in the thing they
They're
always bring up is
They don't do anything.
why don't they just take up Frodo to the Mount Doom? I was thinking about they would get shot down, right?
Oh yeah.
Orcs would shoot them down.
Or the
Solomon would
Nazgul
shoot
or
them down.
something.
They can carry him somewhere. They don't have to leave him all the way back there.
And then if they put them at Mount Doom, I'm sure Sauron would be like, "Hey, get an army over there and just kill those guys." It's not that hard.
They can
Not-
help a little. I'm with Jonah. They can help a little bit.
I know.
I don't
That
think
doesn't
they
mean-
would help. Because if they drop them off at the gate, Sauron sees that he's like, "Okay, put the army up there by Mount Doom."
So
or
you're
something."
saying they can't, like, from the Shire to at least halfway, maybe?
I know.
No, I don't think so. I just don't think it works. 'Cause the only way it
Why do
works-
they love
the-
these eagles so much?
Because the whole walking of Lord of the Rings is like deteriorating like Frodo's health. Imagine half of that. He would have been going like this into the super
Skipping up
volcano.
that mountain.
He would have been carrying
Like,
Sam.
Frodo, you can't catch me. Or Sam, you can't catch me.
I think it only works if they pick up Frodo and like drop him into Mount Doom, and then
He's
he's
just like
dead.
has little goggles on and helmet, he's just diving in like this.
Oh
Can you
man.
imagine a Hobbit skydiving like that? Be awesome. We need to touch on the really bad stuff though.
Okay.
And one of the worst things though was the villain, this wolf guy, man. Like I got though when Jared and I went to watch the movie together, and it just finished. I was like, that was the saddest excuse for a villain I've ever seen in my life. Like the biggest baby, no reasons for anything, and everyone around him was an idiot. Like that general dude, he's like, we shouldn't do that. We should leave. No, I want vengeance. Blah blah blah. And then he just continues to like.
Even when Helm's dead, he's like,
I know.
He's
no,
like,
no,
nope. So yeah, he was awful. That's one of the big things that dropped the movie for me, because I think the rest of it's fine, like I said. But like his motivations and him as a villain, like he looks cool. In the beginning, I was like, oh, this is a cool connection they have, leading into this, but it's just no payoff whatsoever. Hold on a second. Just keep giving me the ball. And then the other thing that I had a problem with Jared and I were talking about were all of they just have to make nods to Lord of the Rings, and it makes me so.
Oh yeah.
So there's the obvious ones like the new keeper of Isengard. Jared was like, how long do they have to stay on Saruman's face? He's just like standing there for 4 minutes while it goes on him. And then I'll let you do the Gandalf one because I know it upset you, Jared.
Oh, I thought it's kind of fine. She's like, oh, there's a wizard and he needs our help. And it was fine. It was fine.
Mhm.
And then she's like, and like 2 minutes later, she gets the letter. Oh, his name's Gandalf.
Oh yeah, he has
fine.
many names.
I know.
Most call him Gandalf.
Pause for like 2 minutes. Oh, he's Gandalf.
Yeah, Jared and I both had the same reaction. We're like, oh, that was nice. Like, we get it, but we don't need it shoved in our face. And then literally, yeah, like there's a little note and the little symbol. But some of the other things that annoy me so badly were just they take lines from Lord of the Rings and a lot of these things in Rings of Power as well. Like one of my biggest problems with this movie is the siege, we'll say, of Rohan, because Hammer Lord Doorman is like getting all his fighters together and they go out. What does a lord of a land do with walls to protect? He doesn't charge like the advantage of being sieged upon is that you have the defense. But
He wanted a fair fight.
It's like they just had to have the Rohan Lord of the Rings copying scene moment with them charging, and they charge into the arrows. It's like, are you stupid? That is I was so mad at the scene. I'm like, how stupid are you? You are the defense. They have to come at your arrows. You are the one who gets to shoot. That made me so mad because it was so stupid because they have to copy Lord of the Rings because like everyone loves the scene, rightfully so, of them charging on freaking Minas Tirith, and it's like, no, why? It's just there was so little thought put into that. It made me so mad. And then the line he has before, he's like, "Arise, arise!" Like almost exact kind of tone and cadence of freaking Theoden before the thing. It's like, stop trying to copy things. We know what it is. It's like freaking Gladiator 2. Whenever you have the flashback scenes of the first movie, it's like, we all know this. It says 2. We know there's a first one. We know about the horses' names. We don't need to freaking see it.
Hey, they scratched out Maximus. We
they
wouldn't have known.
It made me so mad. So that scene especially just really, really irked me. And then the one with Saruman, it's like, come off it. Like
At least
don't use his voice.
Yeah, the rings. See, the orcs were the best part.
That was fine. It's like, oh, that's an interesting little like, we're in Lord of the Rings world. Hey, Lord of the Rings is here, but we don't need to stick on it. But the rest of them, man, especially that Rohan one, that made me so mad. I was like,
what about
stupid?
What about the Watcher in the water? Because that's not supposed to be a role.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mind that. It was a really, really stupid excuse to get her captured. Like story plotting wise, it's just like what a convenient. Convenient, but it's just like a really dumb way to progress the plot forward, but it was visually cool. Him eating the elephant, I was like, ooh.
If they're smart, she would have learned something from that and used it against a second elephant.
Yeah, true.
But she just takes them out in 2 different ways, and they have like nothing to do with each other.
And I like how they're all Legolas and they can all take down an elephant.
Yeah.
It's not special at all.
Dude, Rohan King should never have second or like advisors or like
no.
Yeah.
Dude, they trust
bad people.
That Thorn
clearly
guy?
he was betraying him.
But going off of what Jonah was saying about how he likes adult animation, that was something that I appreciated. It kind of feeling more of that because like the brother getting shot through the throat with the arrow. Like, oh my god! And like limbs are coming off all the time. I was like, it's very cool to see. I guess it's just the easiest way to put that, but it is enjoyable to have that kind of realistic war in it rather than just like off-scene kill.
That's something they should have done with the first 40 minutes is kind of develop the sibling bond between the brothers and like the sister. Because when they died, I was like,
nobody cared.
Yeah.
He played that instrument.
And that old bat in there, she's like, can I burn it?
Dude, that lady was nuts. I was like, why do we have her? She's scary.
The walls are whispering, guys.
That was a very Ghibli lady.
Yeah. 100%,
Yes.
100%. But
that and the Watchers, that look like Ghibli.
Yeah.
Those two characters.
And speaking of the elephant too, like the diseased elephant running after it.
Yeah.
Very much like Mononoke. But
Watching this, I was like, this does feel like Ghibli and like Lion King 2 because the bad guy looked like Kovu
Oh, yeah.
from Lion King 2, and he was trying to marry the other faction's daughter. So I was like, this is Lion King 2.
It's just adult Lion King too.
It was so dumb that she was the one that gave him the scratch because
Yeah.
on his eye, because his whole world revolves around her. He's got like no character outside of
No.
her.
He got scratched in the face and he turned evil.
He's horrible, man. He is
I can see why she didn't marry him. He is the least
Yeah.
manly man I've ever seen in my life.
I
He's
really
crying
thought
the
she
whole
was
time.
gonna marry her cousin.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's some
nice.
weird like
some kissing cousins in that moment, you know.
yeah, you have my love, and then she walked off.
Yeah, so she's coming back. You know she's coming back. All right. I mean, I think I'm missing some more. The music was fine. I thought,
Yeah.
it fit pretty good.
Playing off the theme of Rohirrim.
Yeah. So with this and Rings of Power, it's so sad because you could tell stories in this world,
I know, man.
but they just gotta stop trying to get into the lore. Just tell an independent story set in this world.
It's what Jared and I were talking about after the movie. It's like they're just Star Warsing it. They're trying to connect it to the same three characters, the same story, the same conflict.
Gotta go to Tatooine.
I think the problem with that is that it will feel too disconnected from Lord of the Rings then.
I don't think so.
Because what separates it from the rest of fantasy?
But we don't get a lot of fantasy, you know?
Not a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do the lore thing, you got to respect the lore. And if you want to do your own thing, then just do your own thing and don't try to attach yourself. Respect it. Anything else, Jared?
No, I got my points across. Lion King 2. Dude was a weenie man.
Dude was a weenie man.
Was a weenie man.
Leaf.
I'll never be able to say hard hand Hammerheld, whatever that guy's name is.
So are you happy that we got the origin of Helm's Deep? I didn't even like that part where she was like, her people have named it something after him, and now it's called Helm's Deep. It's
it just felt like a like a Han Solo moment.
The Han Solo moment.
Or I am good, or Grand Elf, Gandalf. Like, get out of my life with that nonsense.
Get out of my life. I can see if they had like a huge budget, like a Zelda in this kind of animation.
Yeah.
Some kind of Zelda show or movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys really don't want that live action?
No, it's gonna be.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's so
I'm scared for this Mega Man episode. I don't trust anything right now.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. So here's a little hint for you guys to go check out bonus stuff this week. All right, so that's gonna do it for That's Good Stuff. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye.